They were used the bucket. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. I don't see anybody here. Yeah, huh? Yeah. Photo connection. Oh, yeah. They have started coming. They have started, yes. They're coming out. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai 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 Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. We are now the chapter. So from Tirupati, having their bath in Papanashini, both of them started climbing, and straight away when they reached on the foothills, they proceeded to the railway station. One train was there, Kalahasti. After a day's stay there, they left for Jagannath Puri. Here, a wonderful episode. We will read this. After a day's stay here in Kalahasti, they left for Jagannath Puri. It was noon. The Sadhuram and Ramdas were in the train. A ticket inspector, a Christian, dressed in European fashion, stepped into a carriage at a small station and coming up to the sadhus asked for tickets. Sadhus carry no tickets, brother, for they neither possess nor care to possess any money, said Ramdas in English. The ticket inspector replied, you can speak English, educated as you are, you cannot travel without a ticket. I have to ask you both to get down. The Sadhuram and he accordingly got down at the bidding of the inspector. It is all Ram's will, assured Ramdas to his guide. They were now on the platform, and there was still some more time for the train to start. The ticket inspector, meanwhile, felt an inclination to hold conversation with Ramdas, who with the Sadhuram was waiting for the train to depart. Well, broke in the inspector, looking at Ramdas, may I know with what purpose you are traveling in this manner? In quest of God, was his simple reply. The inspector persisted, they say God is everywhere. Then where is the fun of your knocking about in search of him, while he is at the very place from which you started on this quest, as you say? Right, brother, replied Ramdas. God is everywhere. But he wants to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. Well then, continued the inspector, if you are discovering God wherever you go, you must be seeing him here on this spot where you stand. Certainly, brother, rejoined Ramdas, he is here at the very place where we stand. Can you tell me where he is? Asked the inspector. Behold, he is here, standing in front of me, exclaimed Ramdas enthusiastically. Where? Cried the inspector impatiently. Here, pointed out Ramdas, smiling, patted on the broad chest of the inspector himself. In the tall figure standing in front, that is in yourself, Ramdas clearly sees God who is everywhere. For a time, the inspector looked confused. Then he broke into a heavy fit of laughter. Opening the door of the compartment from which he had asked them to get down, he requested them to get in again, and they did so, followed by him. He sat in the train with the sadhu for some time. I cannot disturb you, friends. I wish you all success in your quest of God. With these words, he left the carriage, and the train rolled onwards. O Ram, thy name be glorified. Now, we should not forget that Ram is taking us. Ram, who is seated within, and who is the mysterious power presiding over the entire world, he is taking us out of his love for us through Papa's in quest of God itinerant journey. So when we come to this stage, what do we learn from this? Ram has been tutoring Papa. So the learning has got two aspects. One by reflecting, memorizing, and the other by observing and experiencing. The first one is purely an internal activity, while the other is based on external. When we learn something, first we do by memorizing, reflecting, and the other by observing and experiencing. One is called theory, and the other is called practical. Both together complete the task of comprehensive education. Ram had provided sufficient theoretical knowledge to Papa, and through the itinerant life, he is providing with the practical. When we go through his pre-22 days, we came to understand all that was necessary on the theoretical side were fed on him. But practical, that is why he pushed Papa from the place where he was to give him the practical from the external. So this right from Srirangam, this type of tutoring is going on in the form of tests meted out to Papa. So far, Papa was not confronted with any question on God. In order that Papa gets an opportunity to express his concerted view, Ram poses the fundamental question to confirm the veracity of Papa's own conviction on the word God at Kalahasti through a ticket examiner. This is how we look at it. Theory, enough, okay. Then practical started. But so far, either at Srirangam, or at Rameshwaram, or at Madurai, or at Chidambaram, or at Tiruvannamalai or Tirupakuriur, nobody asked him anything about God. So what are the inferences based on experience and theory? Papa is God. There should be a field for expression. So Ram therefore motivated the ticket inspector to ask this question, fundamental question. Really, this is the one question that we have to get an answer. Ramana Bhagavan's who am I theory. So far, Papa was not confronted with any question of God on God. In order that Papa gets an opportunity to express his concerted view, not an ordinary passing view, solid. Ram poses the fundamental question to confirm the veracity of Papa's own conviction on the word God at Kalahasti through a ticket exam. Now the stage has been beautifully set. To a person of different faith, is a Christian. Why did he use the word Christian? Why did he use the word in European interest? We start thinking about it. Then we realize to a person of different faith, sadhaka or sadhu or parivrajaka and the like are Greek and Latin. To him, sadhus belong to the uneducated and they simply wander from place to place and beg for their living. This is what they have. Because they have not, the Indian system, they don't know. There is a word called sadhana, sadhaka, parivrajaka, all those things. So naturally, when he checked up whether, when he knew that Papa was educated, he is not eligible. To him, sadhus belong to the educated and they simply wander from place to place to beg for their living. So the moment the TT knew that Papa knows English, he asked them to get down. Without murmur, Papa accepted it. It's another test of Ram. After some time, the same TT asked him the purpose of Papa's travel because the dialogue should come out, How he arranges everything, If he had simply allowed them to sit in the train, this would not have happened. So he wanted them to get down from the train. For that, there should be a sufficient reason. So to him, the reason is he is educated, so he cannot travel. He should get employed and he earn money and then travel. If he is not educated, they can understand, they can travel. So that is how he was asked to get down. Now, having got down, you could have asked them to go out of the platform. No, because Ram is playing, Ram has to bring out from Papa's mouth what exactly he means by God. So without murmur, after some time, here a fundamental question is asked. When it is said God is everywhere, where is the necessity to search for him? Here, when we started thinking more about it, elsewhere Papa says, there are many who are doing sadhana. They do not know why they are doing it. Their conception of God is very limited and narrow. They must have, in the first place, a right concept of God before they try to attain. So if he did not have a clarity, he would not have been able to answer like this. So Ram is reminding us, have you got the clarity on the concept of the word God? Here we remember what all thoughts God gave us at the time of that introductory article in Quest of God. There, we found In Quest of God as a spiritual course. In that, Papa's deeply insightful opening remarks in Quest of God reveals a priceless treasure of spiritual wisdom for every aspirant on his quest. It clearly and candidly answers many of our questions regarding the curriculum, the syllabus, the methodology, finally the culmination, the degree of our spiritual journey. By going through this exercise, aspirant will get more clarity in his or her journey towards the ultimate. This spiritual education starts with the word quest. One should be very clear as to what he or she is in search of. Are we clear? We have to ask. We may be attending so many programs, but are we clear about this quest? In Beloved Papa's case, it was clear that the search is to become always aware of the indwelling and all-pervading reality. Because the concept was very clear. God is the indwelling and all-pervading reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power, he says, and that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all things and in all creatures who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing form. Ram is all is in Ram, Ram is all in all. Concept. If this concept is not clear, you would not have been able to address a reply ETE. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all beings and things and creatures who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing form. Just like the electricity and the gadget. If the power will, even if we break the gadget, we will not be able to see the power. But without power, the gadget will be useless. So similarly, all our five sense organs, our mind, intellect, everything will work only when mysterious power is within us. If somebody were to dissect our body, certainly they will not be able to find out the power. Without that power, the sense of individuality or any creature does not exist, will not exist. And even in inert, insentient matter, it has been proved that there are vibrations that are going on inside. So the life force is still there. This clarity, through this particular 11th chapter, Papa is again, Ram is again reminding us that unless and you have the clarity, you will not be able to really comprehend the meaning of Papa's talk with the ticket examiner. What is that power? Again, we will go through that first day. The quest is a keen desire to realize Ram's infinite love kindled by Ram in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas. The school is the world we live in is a school. And curriculum, realize the great truth and love. Sorry, realize the great truth that love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in the world. This is the curriculum. And syllabus, complete surrender to the will of Ram. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body, which keeps us aloof from him, and find ourselves in a state of complete identification, union with Ram, who is in us and everywhere around us. Adults feel as separate individuals through ignorance. Methodology received from the world of vanishing forms. Total subdue our egoism, our self-assertion, separate individual existence. All these things are there, we will not be able to understand. What is the examination? Sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures who are all manifestations of the same Ram. And who are our guide? The great sacrifice of Buddha, of Jesus, it has been of Mahatma Gandhi in our own time. And what is the degree we get? A state of complete identification and union with Ram. And convocation, the fullest manifestation of Ram, the great truth, the infinite love. This background, not merely the academic idea about it. Only if we try to join this course, become aware of the curriculum, become aware of the syllabus, go through the methodology, identify the hurdles, and write for exams, then only we will be able to do it. Then only in this particular chapter, when Papa answers, we will be able to understand it. Otherwise, it is a mere dialogue between A and B, that's all. Now, coming back again to the chapter. Right from childhood, we have formed a strong faith that God is outside. And that is why we go to temples where we offer worship to various deities, and later on to ashrams where we adore the Mahatmas. At no time it is struck to us that he is within. In Papa's case, though he also started worshipping deities initially, by Ram's grace, he got awakened to the reality that God is both the indwelling and all-pervading reality. That is why he said, God is everywhere, but he wants to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing his presence everywhere. Sitting in this room, suppose I declare, it is right, it is the truth only. But in Papa's case, in many Mahatmas' case, this was not done. But in Papa's case, Ram saw to it that he got well established by seeing God everywhere, by taking him. Again, this is not a must. In Papa's case, Ram took it. And because through Papa, he is now conveying this to us. So he was well aware. Just imagine, he was well aware. Even while he was on the itinerant Parivrajaka Yatra, it is not in search of God. We can say in quest of God who is everywhere. When we realize God within, it's a different matter. The same within God is everywhere outside. So it was not really an inquest of God. Right from the start, he was well aware that God is within and God is without. God is without it's an inference, not an experience. So Ram took him out to prove this also. Ram again tested whether what Papa said was from the intellectual knowledge by motivating the deity to identify the God factor then and there. Very touching, that particular question. The question was direct, you remember? It was direct, simple, straightforward, direct. They say God is everywhere, then where is the fun of your knocking about in search of Him? While He is at the very place from which you started on this quest. Right, brother? God is everywhere. But He wants to have this fact actually proved by going to all places and realizing His presence everywhere.
Confusing. This answer he could not understand. This answer of Papa he couldn't understand. Actually confused it.
Well, then, if you are discovering God wherever you go, you must be seeing Him here on this spot where you stand. Certainly, brother, He is here at the very place where we stand. Can you tell me where He is? Behold, He is here standing in front of me. The ticket examiner also is a noble person. He is also in quest of God. Otherwise, that is why he developed some affinity towards Papa. And then he engaged him in a thoughtful discussion. So when Papa was developing it, when he said, yes, he is here now and here, he is here at the very place where we stand, suddenly, he was anxious to know where he is. Can you tell me where he is? Asked. Behold, he is here standing in front of me, exclaimed Ramdas enthusiastically. Then the inspector, the curiosity got eyed impatiently. Where? He also would like to see now. Then the question comes. What all we discussed in the first introductory. Who is Ram? Here, pointed out Ramdas smiling, patted on the broad chest of the inspector himself. The tall figure standing in front, that is in yourself. Ramdas clearly sees God everywhere. For a time, the inspector looked confused. They have not gone beyond the top level, natural. So it was difficult to comprehend. At the same time, he knew whatever word that was coming from Papa, it was coming from the core, from the bottom. Then he broke into a hearty fit of laughter, opening the door which he had asked to get down. He requested them to get in again. They did so, followed by him. He sat in the train with the sadhus for some time. I cannot disturb you, friends. I wish you all success in your quest of God. With these words, he left the carriage. Train rolled onwards. O Ram, thy name is glorified. And the episode part is over. Now we are asked to think about here, now he said. That is why we have to go back to the first introductory. Probably these are the questions still haunting us, many of us. We know he is there. We know without him we don't exist. We know without him even these words will not come. The very existence of ours is known because he is there. Still we don't know him. That is why immediately after the session we are back to the sense of individuality. If the clarity had come after Ramnam chanting, after bhajan, after satsang, after so many things we must have. Now, Ram is making us to think, whatever you have done so far, it has not helped you to identify the God dimension in you. Only when that is identified, you will be able to see the God dimension outside. Papa was regularly mentioning about the word meditation. So he was able to keep alive of the truth that God is within. And the moment the question was asked, when Ram put him that question through the TT, he did not have to refer anywhere. So immediately he said the indwelling. No? If it is indwelling here, it is indwelling there. So this particular chapter again makes us to think intensely about our search for God, our search for. We believe, we don't question. I think halfway we have done of the belief. The other half, the trust has not. So our sense of individuality does not permit us to trust him fully. We have belief, unquestioned. That's why we often remember that episode that took place in Papa's time, when, like all of us, we keep on asking, we want that experience, we have come here for the experience, all those, we keep on telling, not insincerely, but it was not coming from the bottom. It was coming from the surface level. So Papa must have thought, I must put them on a test. So we were told that in the Bhajan hall, one day he said, yes, Ramdas is prepared to give. Whoever wants to take it, come on, come forward. And if we remember right the words, he gave 3 minutes. Nobody came forward. Why? One reason would be that, my attachment toward the things I have been hugging on, what will happen to that? Second thing, it would not have been an expected question. What should I do? I have no idea about God or realization. I have this, the status of Papa. Okay. I may have a vague idea that the status of Papa. And third one, no idea about the word God. If we had clarity about the word God, we will say, no, yes, Papa, yes, we are ready. Because we know you are there, but we don't know where you are there. We know, we believe you are there, but the moment we start reacting in the world outside, we only I am there, you are not there. So all this clarity, if it is there, we would have immediately gone and asked, is there any technique by which I become aware of his presence, at the same time retaining the sense of individuality? If that is not possible, then you give us another method by which we will get over. This much we know, this much we want. We have a sense of individuality now. You have made the sense of individuality to crave for your realization. And so naturally, it is legitimate on our part to ask for this, that you make us aware of your presence, retaining this sense of individuality. If that is not possible, give us a technique by which we transcend. We would have asked. Because when he was answering the QTE, just imagine, no, how clear he was. It is not that we are not aware of him. We are aware of him. But if it is pointed out to us, we may not become aware of him. Today we happen to go through a small episode in the paper, very touching. So immediately we said, when you are compassionate, you play the part of God. You put that in. In COVID, one husband and wife and a child of 1 year or 1 year, they were in the hospital. Everybody was checked. Wife and husband, positive, child, negative. So the child has to be removed. So the doctor immediately took the child. She has got 2 children. And it is a very touching photo. The doctor, lady doctor, is holding the child and showing her mummy and daddy through the the window. And the child initially, it was resisting. Now the child is comfortable. And the other 2 children of the doctor, they have accepted her as Baba, their brother. Every now and then she will take the child, show them when they come to the window. She filled the gap. Child is happy, very, very cute child. And that graceful face of the doctor, daily doctor. As soon as it came in the paper today, yesterday, as soon as then it was read out to us this morning, because we are collecting, all such, I think for past quotation. When you are compassionate, you play the part. The doctor did not immediately ask, whom to give, who will take care of this child. She could size up the whole thing, identified herself totally with them. Though the small child cannot be with the parents, who will now take care? Even if your so-called relatives may be reluctant, what will happen tomorrow? So many things, risk is there, After 1 year child means to take care of the 1 year child. But she did not think anything else. Because if the thought enters, if the intellect enters, it becomes a non-starter. When it is not there, when directly, that's why Papa said the compassion, when you are compassionate, you play the part. സഹാനുഭൂതിയിലൂടെ ഈശ്വരന്റെ ഭാഗം നമ്മൾ that is the part of God. That is the role of God. So not that we do not know, we have, but we don't think, we don't recognize that is God. Though God gives us such experience, we don't still remember that is God. We don't become aware that is God. Every one of us are either we are subjected to watch or subjected to go through such many experiences. Somebody has written, it was our bad luck that we were not there when Papa asked us who wants not realization. What we would have mentioned, we don't know. Because none of them, they were all senior devotees. They were not in a position to answer because the lack of clarity was because of the lack of clarity on the word God. That's what we infer. Because we think, we leave anything. Yesterday we were reading Ramana Bhagavan's, what was that? Remember? There is nothing to realize. There is nothing new to gain. On the other hand, a man must lose his ignorance, that's all. So when I must lose that I am limited, that's all. I must lose that I am so and so. Immediately we can get up and say, make me true that. Nothing new. God realization is not a thing to be attained. So these words are coming because of his presence there. So through this chapter again and again, we are reminded. Seek clarity on the word God. Then only your quest will start. Otherwise, outwardly you are on quest, but you are nowhere. You have reached nowhere. What all is required that you have to keep on pondering over deeply about the origin of you and the world. When we close our eyes and chant, for example, Ram Nam, where from this Nama comes? Who is making me to chant? Who is making me to know that I am chanting? Where from that sound comes? And they stop. When we stop the chanting and start the chanting, there is a gap between this. What is that? How is it that the entire life is memorized now? How is it that right from the minutest activity to the grossest form, how does it happen? Therefore, they are now hearing, seeing. So when in every chapter, when Papa says he continued with the meditation, he was keeping it alive. It was not coming and going. In our case, we all would like to, but we are only, otherwise we will not be hearing this, So it is 100% sure there is an urge to know. But at the same time, we are unable to keep up the same tempo. Immediately after this, something else comes, overpowers us and prioritizes something else, and then we lose the link. Now, suppose when we start knowing, how is it that the hearing goes on? How is it that I know that I am sitting, I am hearing, I am seeing? Very clear now, because past in this peaceful atmosphere, sattvic atmosphere, the mind can be directed towards that. What happens immediately after the session? We won't say entire thing is forgotten totally, but it doesn't remain. Some residue may be there. That is why this slowly the samskara starts and we keep listening, we keep probing. As somebody said yesterday, we are preparing. At least now we are preparing for the campus interview in our next. To do that, I know now, I must not dissipate my energy on something else. Whatever that is blocking me, I must try. I may lose. I don't know whether he will plan for me to win or lose. That is not my concern. At the moment, he keeps us. He tells us, keep it aflame. Papa was keeping it aflame. Every chapter you will find the word. He continued with meditation. He continued with meditation so that, the God factor is always kept alive. God factor is not disconnected. In our case, it is disconnected. He keeps it alive. Even in that extreme cold condition in Tirupati, what did he say yesterday? All the more good time for meditation of Ram. Even there, the bodily discomfort was not overpowering. And Ram kept him, or Ram made him to keep this God factor alive. He could easily get stabilized in that. This is something on which now Papa wants us all to ponder over deeply. Unless and until I get this clarity on the word God, it cannot be 100% given, because it is the very subject. Subject cannot talk about the subject. But still, something approximating to, just like we say, TV and the electricity, because there's something which we can understand. A dead body and a live body. To begin with, we will say the life force. Again, it will take time for us to define what is life, or the chitta aspect, the awareness aspect, consciousness aspect, or the intelligence aspect. Chit Anand. This particular chapter, it has come to a stage where we have to do some deep probing. Otherwise, the Papa knew that we will keep on reading and going. But here, we are unable to proceed to the next chapter. How is it that he was able to immediately touch his chest and say, I see him here, here? What is it that he saw? What is it that made him to say, I see him here? This is the fundamental question of his heart. If I get the answer, I have got the everything. So we will again go through the introductory portion. Probably we may again. Papa's deeply insightful opening remarks in Quest of God reveals a priceless treasure of spiritual wisdom for every aspirant on his quest. That means you must go to the first one, not the first chapter. He says Ram. There is no chapter there. There is no heading there. Immediately after the introduction. O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection, all hail, all hail. This is the first introductory portion of In Quest of God by Papa. ANandashram has written an introduction. It's not that. That's the biographical sketch of Papa. First, the shloka from Bhagavad Gita, then an introduction by ANandashram Publications, and then comes the real introductory portion by Papa. That is how he starts. That is a very important. So far, we have not given any importance at all. But the more we go deeper and deeper into it, why did he place it before all chapters? Because a correct comprehension of this only will enable you to really enjoy the entire chapters. It looks as if, he is putting on a course of studies. It contains everything. So Papa's deeply insightful opening remarks in Quest of God reveals a priceless treasure of spiritual wisdom for every aspirant in his quest. It clearly and candidly answers many of our questions regarding the curriculum, the syllabus, the methodology, finally the culmination, the degree of our spiritual journey. By going through this exercise, aspirant will get more clarity in his or her journey towards the ultimate. The spiritual education starts with the word quest. One should be very clear as to what he or she is in search of. In Birul Papa's case, it was clear that the search is to become always aware of the indwelling and all-pervading reality. Where from he got this? His own words. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all things and in all creatures who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing forms. Because Ram is in all is in Ram, Ram is all in all. So a keen desire to realize Ram's infinite love, kindled by Ram in the heart of his humble slave, Ram. Even the kindling has been attributed to Ram. Then school is life. The world we live in is a school. Curriculum. Realize the great truth. There are all these words from the particular article. Realize the great truth that love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in this world. Ultimately, I become this. It is not one-sided. The difference between syllabus and curriculum is curriculum covers the whole, teaching, training, everything. Syllabus, relates to the subjects. So here it covers everything. The great truth that love of Ram means love of all beings, love of all creatures, all things in this world. Very clear. Not doing some, what you call Shastra Padanam or some Nama chanting or some bhajan or something like that. No. Some puja. No. The ultimate is the flowering of this, loving everybody. Great truth that love of Ram means love of all beings, all things. And what syllabus? Text. Surrender. Complete surrender to the will of Ram. In Papa's course of studies, there is no other. Otherwise, there will be Brahma Vidya Paranam. Upanishad will be there, this will be there, that will be there. Here, the simple, straight surrender. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body which keeps us aloof from him and find ourselves in a state of complete identification and union with Ram, who is in us and everywhere around us. So surrender, 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 surrender. That is the only subject. And huddle, feel as separate individuals through ignorance. Everything has been easily pointed out. The me and mine is the huddle. Acha, now what is the methodology? Recede from the world of vanishing forms, totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. That is the only way. How do we know that we have done it? There should be exams, Sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures who are all manifestations of the same God. That is the exam. Sacrifice all the interests that concern the body. Body means body, mind. What is the degree we get? A complete state of complete identification and union with Ram. Convocation. Inside, okay. Outside also should be the fullest manifestation of Ram. The great truth. So every now and then we go back to these words. And then again go through the chapters. Then we will know, yeah, he's building up one by one, one by one. So he is taking us, all of us, he is taking us in this journey through Papa's in quest of God and gives us every day some points, some clarity. So that whatever we are doing under the banner of spirituality gets the real color. Every time when I chant, I must pray. One part of the mind must pray. Due to habituation, I am chanting and I am enjoying it. But immediately after that, I lose contact with the joy. Please don't do that. Make me aware you are prompting and you are there with me always. I am not enjoying the sweetness of Ramnam when non-chanting takes place because I am not aware of you are motivating me to chant. And that is the sweetness. Your presence is the sweetness. When I chant, when all of the thoughts go away, I unknowingly become aware of your presence, and that is the one I name it as sweetness. So the moment I stop the chanting, naturally when I lose contact with you, the sweetness is not there. This is meditation. Part of the mind is meditating on Ram, part of the mind is chanting his name. By this process, we are trying to become aware of his presence always. I think now In Quest of God gives us a lot of clarity now. Please think about it. This is how at the moment we look at it. Many a time we have taken up In Quest of God, but this time, it is unique. Never was there the motivation to concentrate on the first article of Papa in Quest of God. But it gave us a lot of clarity. Because everything is packed. There is a package there. Now we try to blend it with our daily life, our daily routine. So this particular chapter, God is everywhere, has been instrumental in making us, God is everywhere, yes. 12th chapter. It is making us aware of what is contained in the introductory remarks about Ram. And then again, every day what we should do is, started from that, again go through these 11 chapters mentally. What do they mean to us? If we are not just hearing and going, we will not be able to derive. It will also go. We are back to square one. But suppose we build up this. Every chapter he makes us to go through now. That is why yesterday the prompting came that we should give a break. Because we will sit and go, do. Tomorrow is the 13th, Tomorrow is the 13th chapter. 13th chapter. So the fine policeman. So with that we will stop for a week. And then during these 5-6 days, every one of us will take up this in a notebook. We will try to note down. Because then again, when you see that, you will see how you are prompted from within by him. You are not writing. You are giving now, you are facilitating, you are allowing yourself to the Ram who is seated within. And you will find mysteriously how the guidance comes. 100% sure. Everybody will be, will have the thrill. So when you take the notebook and write what was the first, what was the second, what was the third. And luckily, because this is all in, what do you call this? Streaming.
Live streaming.
It must be there in the YouTube. Whenever we feel there is any gap, 1 or 2 words, which is available. So we can stitch everything together. And by the time we meet again, it will be a consolidation of all the thoughts that Papa gave on all these 13 chapters. And apart from the academic side of completing 13 chapters, it will slowly throw more and more light on our. We pray for his continued guidance and grace so that our inward journey becomes more and more effective, empowering us to move forward with greater confidence. Somebody has written, it is difficult to understand God's kindness to our losses and when we are subjected from what we want. God knows who all have subscribed, so he makes them go through these trials. Okay. Hearing, reading, and thinking of Papa is also a sadhana for us. Selfless seeing Ram everywhere in all. Think Ram loved Papa more than Papa did. Papa has prompted me to go through the IQG as a Sapta. Started my notes too. Thank you. Okay. Good. So let this be Sapta. Yeah, correct. So the 7 days from day after tomorrow. Tomorrow also we will meet. No doubt. Tomorrow we will have the chapter called Kind Policeman. And then during that break, we will all catch hold of Ram's feet. He is within us. Guide us. We cannot afford to lose a minute hereafter. You have provided so many things. Let it not go away. As the cow masticates when it collects all the fodder from the field, later on when it is back to it takes one by one, masticates and make it one with its body. Similarly, you have made us to collect so many things from different places. Now for the next 1 week, you are giving us this rest, and during this rest period, make us to bring it out one by one, chew it, then make it to become one with our life. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Hari Om to everybody.
You are living, Baba. வீடா கடைசியில் ஆறு விடுவா யாரை விடுவாங்க leave both your hands. Papa, you're not. I don't think anybody will leave them. They don't trust. That's all it is. You're not prepared. எல்லாரும் வீட்டுல எப்படி நான் பார்த்து அதோட மாறாடு